I wanted to touch on something today called the Scramble. It can be used in any game, really. It's not so that it only works in World of Tanks, just I have a lot of videos I wanted to use up so I could clear up some hard drive space, so I thought I'd delete these. The Scramble is not so much referring to a specific strategy or tactic, it's more how you use the situation. I've had many games where I planned or wanted to, and it just didn't work out, and the Scramble kind of falls in your lap. It requires you to have a fairly maneuverable unit. It's certainly easier with medium or light, more agile units. Again, like Warrior, whatever the game is, it can be used. Just these illustrations are from World of Tanks. It's all about the incidental surprise of something coming upon you, and you scramble around and reposition using your maneuvering in a way that the opponent did not anticipate. Either they were surprised, not expecting you to be there, or they knew you were there, but you do what they don't anticipate and just scramble around trying to get your gun to bear on them, dodging their fire, etc. When I was running artillery, specifically the Hummel, I jokingly talked about how it had a bayonet attachment. At the time, the other players were notorious, not that they're particularly good now, but they were notorious about not watching flanks, not covering artillery, and so I would get jumped all the time. And I'd scramble around, take out whoever was attacking me, reposition for the artillery coming in on me, and then go back to my shelling enemy positions. So all of that said, a good illustration where the whole game seemed to just come together well for the Scramble. Here I am running the VK 30.02. It's a medium tank, pretty reasonably maneuverable, a decent gun, etc. I ran around to the far right flank. Usually when you find openings, it's going to be on one of the flanks. Not always. I've had times where I get stuff in the middle. But you don't want to just charge in and come at an enemy, because you can just charge around a corner and get shot, and that's it. That's no fun. Peeking around corners, trying to make sure I spot what I can. Not 100% sure if this is open or he had no idea it was there. I will often, in these situations, just do an auto lock, just so my gun will automatically target a tank, or target more accurately as I maneuver around, so I can focus more on where I am driving. It's not always a good strategy, but I don't always do it. It just depends on the situation. But I have done this, as I said, with tank destroyers, artillery. Things come upon me, or the situation opens up, and I just go with it. One vehicle I was surprisingly good at doing this with was my Jag Panther and my Stug. Take this light tank by surprise from the back. Okay, I don't want to go where they expect you. Wasn't sure if he was expecting me to pursue him straight from the back or circle around. You never really know what they really saw or know. Probably did have visibility of me still. So I just went with it. Sometimes it's a matter of anticipating where, if they shot, they're still loading, trying to exploit the situation. Trying to go where you're not anticipated, seeing an opportunity, trying to go with it. Tank over here. Just as I start to get beat on him, he pulls into cover.
Penetration.
Becomes toward me.
They're knocked out.
Problem resolved. anticipate him being there.
One of our trucks is damaged. Enemy is hit. Penetration. Gotcha. Target acquired. They're knocked out. Ready
Just
to
wreaking
fire.
havoc behind their lines.
We didn't even scratch them. Enemy armor is damaged. Enemy is hit. Enemy armor is
Guessing he's AFK. Event
Enemy
selected.
is hit.
I have seen people simply give up and just log out of matches at the end,
We live
which makes no sense to me. I will fight to the bitter end. To glory!
ready to fire. Enemy armor is
This guy is just the key of avoiding his front barrel, which I had failed at a little bit.
to trap. Enemy armor is hit. Target lost.
But we won. And I survived.
It's ruptured.
It's always a plus. Here's another one, running the same tank, simply by dumb luck, where it didn't quite go as well, but the opportunity presented itself, and it's really good illustration of last moment improvisation. We'll kind of jump ahead a little bit, because I'm sure you really don't care about watching me drive over to this side of the map. I was basically sitting tight, wanting to take more of a sniping position, cover this, waiting for cover as the other guys are a little slower. I was sitting there well camouflaged, positioned, reasonably known position. It's not like you're not going to know somebody's here. There's only a handful of good spots over there. But I was more concerned with watching on the far flank. And then this T-29 comes along and basically gave away the position. How did he do that? Well, he drives up. I think he was trying to delicately position, but he knocks the tree over. And as soon as he did that, I'm out of here. As an artillery player, I would shell stuff like that, and I couldn't tell you how many times in Clan Wars I took out players without even being seen. The old days of my clan, they were that I was involved with, they would marvel at how I was able to do it. I just pick being an artillery player, I knew artillery, and I would look at spots where artillery were good, and I'd see a bush move, shell it, take them out, move on. So yeah, I was relocating. Now I moved around to the side, both to hide behind the slope a little bit, to get a little bit of cover. And I got this little stug. Yes, you can actually say Panzer IV. E25 to be specific. I got a little bit of target fixation that I found. This other guy, oh, he's here. Well, let's finish him off. Oh, good. Now we only dealing with one. Let's see if I can not get shot. Well, I didn't. But I'm at least working at pinning his gun not on me. But this guy also knew what he was doing. So he was working very hard at keeping me in my gun, in his gun. I was able to try to at least position or catch his gun over the edge of the tank so it wasn't able to point at me. And then I'm pulling out, get a spot warning. Oh, look, artillery. I did lock my gun on him, and I'm trying to swerve a little bit so that he won't be able to as easily target me. It's really hard to run artillery bases in tank destroyer mode. I have done it, but get around behind him, and we're done. And flank is wide open. Teams are both fairly even. I'm creating a diversion, trying to draw as much players over on my side. Help them. The other tank took me out as I was trying to get the other artillery, but definitely created a diversion. So that's basically some information on Scramble. As I said, if you understand basically what you're doing, it's something you want to do in pretty much all games. Use your agility to counter if you're surprised or surprising an opponent. It does work in pretty much all situations and games. It's easier if you're in a more agile unit. My wife did a wonderful maneuver with a KV-1. She was not agile, but she positioned surprising the opponent. Basically, he was driving circles around her, shooting her. He assumed she was going to keep driving forward and trying to turn and maneuver. Well, she reversed. Well, he swung around behind her, didn't notice, it was moving so slow. She ended up pinning him between a rock and her back. Crushed him in there, spun her 152 millimeter howitzer around, and boom! Gone. Even if she couldn't get line of sight on him, literally shooting the rock, explosion, splash damage down on him, gone. It's surprise. That's the key.